Welcome to Hidden Hilltop Homestead. We're starting out this video with a sale. So I put this Valentine's Day quilt up on my Facebook and somebody claimed it. So I'm just popping in my quilt care kit. That is washing instructions and a couple shout color catchers for the first time they wash the quilt. I'm going to get this all packaged up and ready to go so that I can drop this off tomorrow morning. And I think for today we're gonna start with some video editing and then go from there. I'm currently working on a couple videos and a tutorial, and then I'm also developing an intro for my videos, which hopefully I'll be able to put in the beginning of this one and we can test it out. My goal today is just to do some kind of quilting, so we'll see what I end up getting into, but I'm gonna finish this video. I got my sweet tea, got my water, let's go. I decided to start with my Florida quilt because I'm trying to multitask and get a few things going at once here. So this is just a navy solid cotton, so this isn't flannel, but this is what the customer requested. So I'm going to be cutting up all of my backing squares, and then I have some pre-cuts for the front, but I also need to cut out the remaining fabric that I have. So I'm just going to work on that for the rest of the evening. I got all my backing cut, so now I'm just going through my pre-cuts. These are just pieces that I have previously cut into 6-inch squares. I usually do that whenever I'm cutting out pieces so that I don't just have little chunks of fabric. I actually have ready to go squares. Now that I have all of my pre-cuts done, I'm going to go through and cut up the fabric that I pulled. So this is just going to fill in the spaces that I need to have 144 squares total for this really adorable ocean/Florida quilt. I think this is going to be really cute, and I went over all the prints with my mom to make sure that she loved them. So this is going to be an adorable quilt for sure. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this is going to be a throw, so it's going to be about 60 inches by 60 inches when it's finished and washed and dried and all that good stuff. So oversized throw, perfect for the couch or even just an extra blanket on the bed. Alright, all of my top fabrics are cut, so we have 144 blocks, and I have everything separated out into 12-piece piles because my rows are 12 pieces wide, and then I have 12 rows, so that makes 144 blocks total. So let's move on to cutting the batting. I'm using this quilt as a great opportunity to get rid of the last of this polyester batting I have. This is just black polyester. I've used this for several Halloween quilts or just darker quilts, and I have a lot of dark fabric in this quilt, so I'm going to use what I have in that, and then I will supplement with the warm and natural that I usually use. And the thickness is very similar, the feel is very similar, so I don't have any qualms with using this and having any type of weird texture. So I'm just going to go ahead and see how many I can cut out of the black, and then we'll cut out the remaining with the other. So I had just enough of the black to do about half of what I needed, plus a few extra blocks, perfectly fine. So now let's just fill in what we need with the warm and natural. Alright, perfect. These are all of my batting squares done. We got half and half almost, which these will be perfectly fine. The thickness is good, texture's good, so I'm happy, and I finally can get rid of the end of that. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut out some batting for my t-shirt quilt. Now I just made a mistake, and I want to use this as a learning opportunity, but make sure and double check that your ruler cut, the measure twice, cut first. I looked at this and saw 13 and thought that was 13 inches. It's 11 because I was looking at the wrong side of the ruler. I need these to be 13-inch squares, so I'm off by 2 inches, which is no big deal. I'll just use that chunk for something else. But, pay attention. Alright, I got a good bit of cutting done and I used as much as I could out of that chunk of Warm and Natural that I had. So I think I'm going to set this aside and work on something else just because I'm kind of like tired of cutting fabric and messing around with this stuff. This is perfectly fine to use for 6-inch pieces, which is the size I normally cut for all my other rag quilts. So I'll put all of this stuff over on my project quilt and let's see what else I can get into. So I did a little bit of a 180 and I got into my yarn and decided to crochet a market bag. So I've never made a bag ever with crochet, and I honestly don't really know how this is gonna go, but so far so good. I mean, I have a nice little rectangle here, but the plan is to make like a mesh market bag that is washable. So basically the peach color I was just working on is like the top edge of the bag, and then now I'm building the sides, and I'm doing that by doing a chain 5 and then a single crochet. So this bag's mainly made out of single crochets and chains, and that's like the easiest thing to do when it comes to crochet. I'm definitely a beginner, and I've only made like some washcloths. I've made a scrunchie and a bandana, and then I've done 2 beanies and some dish scrubbies. So I'm starting to slowly expand my skill set with crochet. I actually really like doing it now. So I'm definitely going to see some more crochet projects here on my channel and craft projects in general, because I'm getting a little tired of just doing rag quilt stuff. I know a lot of people come here for that, but I have a lot of how-tos and tutorials and things on my channel as well that are very like rag quilt specific. So I just kind of wanted to change it up a little bit with these vlogs because I like to do a lot of other things and I feel like might as well share them. Maybe some other people will be interested in seeing it. So I'm just going to work on this bag and we'll see how far we can get tonight before I get too tired. So I made some serious progress tonight and I'm very proud of myself. It's starting to look a little bit like a fishnet, but that's okay. This is the mesh look that I was talking about. So basically I have 10 rows done of the mesh and I'm going to go up to 40. And as I build it, that's my row 10 marker. As I build it, it's going to go wider because you're making kind of like a half moon shaped bag. And then once you're done, you do like a perimeter stitch all the way around, and then the handles are attached to that piece, and then there'll also be a handle attached to the other piece. So I will link the tutorial for this because this is a very, very simple tutorial. Like I said, it's my first bag and it's going very, very well. I'm very, very happy with my progress. Good morning. Today I'm going to be working on my t-shirt quilt and trying to get a little bit of progress done with that. Right now I'm currently finishing up the batting. So I have this giant mountain of Warm and Natural batting, and this is what I have left. So I have like this big, I think it's like 6, 7, maybe 8 yards. I don't remember. But it's a big chunk I got for a really good deal because it was on sale and I had coupons and stuff like that. So I'm cutting out my 13-inch squares to finish off what I need for that t-shirt quilt, and then we're going to move on to cutting the squares out of the actual t-shirt. So that'll be fun. Alright, I have my stencil and my pile of t-shirts. I made this stencil out of cardboard. It's just a 14-inch square. I did it picture frame style so that I could see and get the designs squared before I actually cut everything. And let's cut some t-shirts. So I just took my scissors and cut around the perimeter of the t-shirt and then cut it in half. What I'm trying to do is separate just the front of the t-shirt by itself. It just makes cutting out these squares so much easier. And then I'm centering the words inside of the picture frame essentially. And this takes a little bit of time because I want to make sure, you know, everything looks right and is going to be spaced out and have a good perimeter all the way around the square. That's one square down and 24 more to go. Moving right along, I got all of my front squares cut out. So now I'm doing the interfacing. And what this is going to do is stabilize the t-shirts so that when I go to sew them and quilt, they don't stretch. T-shirt material is very stretchy, and there's a variety of stretchiness with all of those shirts. They're all different. So I want to make sure that I have like a standard, almost stiff surface, and this is fusible interfacing. So I'll use an iron and fuse it to the back of the t-shirts. And I'm actually cutting these 12.5 inches squared. So interfacing is only so wide. I think it's like 20 inches or something like that. So I'm going to use the leftover pieces from the squares I'm making. I'm going to hodgepodge them together so that I can get the most out of this interfacing. The fun part now, we are going to iron down this interfacing, and this is actually like the third block that I've done. I didn't film the other two. I didn't keep the other two, I should say. The first time I did this, I did it upside down, and I was like ironing, so sweeping the iron back and forth, which you're not supposed to do. And I had the wrong side down, and the temp wasn't high enough, thankfully, so it didn't stick to my ironing fabric here, which is just the back of a t-shirt. You're supposed to do it bumpy side down because that's the glue side, and you're supposed to press for 10 seconds and then move on to a different section, even though I only do like 8 seconds. And always have material between the iron and the shirt. And if you watch a tutorial on this, it will tell you to put the interfacing down and then the fabric on top of it, but I did it backwards because I'm putting mine in the center of my t-shirt cut so that it doesn't get into the fringe, because I feel like that will ruin the texture of the fringe and not make it fray like it's supposed to. Otherwise, you're supposed to just put interfacing all over everything if you're doing regular quilting. I'm going to finish these up and I'll see you guys in the morning. New day, new game plan. So as of right now, I want to try to get all of these blocks done. So that is the backing of my t-shirt quilt, and I'm putting down the batting squares, and then I'm going to be putting the t-shirt squares on top, centering everything, lining it up the best I can, and then I'm going to be pinning it. So I'm going to put 3 pins on each side, and then my plan is to quilt these and then recut them down to size, because I know some of it's not lining up. Some of my t-shirt fabric is a little bit bigger than the actual square that I need, which, good problem to have. I'd rather it be too big than not enough. So once I'm done with all of this and have everything pinned, I will probably move on to some crochet, because honestly I don't feel like sewing today, and yeah, but this is progress nonetheless. So even though I may not sew today, I'll at least get a big chunk of work accomplished. And I also have a package coming today, hopefully, so whenever that gets here, I'll open it and show you. It's just some fabric that I got for a special order, but I don't normally order fabric, so it's a fun little experience. But anyways, I will see you guys shortly, and we'll work on some more stuff. Package came. So this is super cute. It came from North Carolina, and this is fabric that I found on Etsy. Now that I know that this shop exists, they do have their own personal website and store, so I will be going to them for any type of further purchases. But it is ocean fabric for a ocean themed baby quilt, and it is so cute. This is the card, the business card and phone number, and then they also have a website. So yeah, let me show you these super duper cute prints. These are fat quarter pieces, by the way. And this is for a little boy baby quilt, but I just think these are so cute. I just wanted something a little more nursery themed, which all 3 of these are gorgeous. And I have some fabric that's going to go along with that, so that should be all I need to buy for that project. And this bag, like, how freaking cute is that? The sea turtles, adorable. Packaging 10 out of 10, shipping 10 out of 10. It came really fast. Everything is cut to size. Overall, wonderful experience. I think I'm just going to work on the crochet bag for the rest of the night. I'm making really good progress, and I kind of got a stride going, so I'm just going to keep plugging away at these chains. for this part of the bag, I'm doing 5 chains, and then I'm doing a single crochet into the loop. So this part here, doing a single crochet and then chaining 5. Sorry, it's hard to like do this and also make sure it's in frame. But yeah, then I just keep on doing that all the way across, and there's 30 loops per row, so I'm doing 30 per chain. And then at the end you chain 5 and turn and go back the other direction. So I'm trying to get 40 rows, and then I'll be able to start on the other half of the handle situation. Alright, the body of the bag is done, so like that's where we started, and I just have it kind of folded over. But this is what it's going to look like. It will be added on there, and then essentially the bag will look like this. It'll be kind of like a half moon shape because it's folded over obviously, but it's made to like expand and be very, very flexible. So this is going to be like a pretty large tote bag, but my goal with this is for like produce or to take to the farmer's market and stuff like that. So I think it's going to look pretty good. I put stitch markers all up the side to count my rows, so I'm just going to take those out, and then I'm going to start building the other half of the handle and work my way across the entire width of the bag. So I'm changing colors from that variegated yarn back to this peach color, and I'm just doing a single crochet into every loop. And I started in the first single crochet of the row, and then it's every loop, and then when you get to the end you'll have one last single crochet before the loop, and you'll do that one and then the last loop, and then I will just do a single crochet back and forth until I build up the same width as the other side. So this is like my first gathering row, and then this is what it's going to look like once I add on to that. It's a little bit wider than the original, but I feel like it'll shrink because I'm going to be gathering like as I go along. But yeah, that's going to essentially be the bag. But alright guys, thank you so much for checking out this vlog. I hope you enjoyed seeing me do all these different craft projects, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!